What if everything we thought was safe and blood of my blood was about to collapse? Episode 7 pulled us into the edge of betrayal, heartbreak, and unanswered questions. And now, with the Episode 8 trailer, the stakes feel higher than ever. Characters we trusted are standing on dangerous ground, secrets are spilling out, and the future of this story looks darker than anything we've seen so far. But here's the real question. What does Episode 8 truly hold? And how much of what we saw in Episode 7 was just the calm before the storm? Episode 7 was not just another chapter in Blood of My Blood, it was a turning point. From the very first scene, we could feel that something wasn't right. The tone was heavier, the conversations sharper, and every glance between the characters carried a weight that couldn't be ignored. It almost felt like the story was whispering to us. Nothing will be the same after this. One of the biggest highlights of the episode was how it balanced raw emotion with shocking twists. We saw relationships being tested in ways we didn't expect. Long-kept secrets started to crack open, and some characters finally revealed their true colors. These weren't just small shifts in the story, these were the kinds of moments that reshaped the entire direction of a series. Take character A, for example. Their choices in this episode didn't just affect themselves, but also set off a chain reaction that pulled almost every other character into the fire. What started as a quiet, personal struggle quickly turned into a conflict that will likely explode in Episode 8. And the trailer only fuels that idea further, showing us glimpses of what those decisions will lead to. Then there was the emotional center of the episode. Character B's storyline. This wasn't just about action or politics. It was about raw human feelings. The pain in their choices, the hesitation in their voice, and the way other characters responded to them made the episode feel deeply personal. These are the moments that remind us why we care about these characters in the first place. But Episode 7 wasn't only about emotion. It gave us visual storytelling at its best. Every frame seemed loaded with symbolism. A shadow falling across a character's face. A door closing at just the right moment. Silence stretched longer than usual. These are small touches, but they speak volumes about the storm that's brewing. It's like the episode itself was warning us to prepare for the chaos ahead. And then came the cliffhanger, the moment that left fans buzzing. Just when it seemed like things were about to calm down, the writers threw us into a final scene that flipped everything upside down. It was shocking, but not in a cheap way. It was the kind of twist that made us rethink every choice the characters made up to that point. Suddenly, all the questions we had from earlier episodes felt sharper, more urgent, impossible to ignore. What makes this cliffhanger so powerful is how it ties directly into the Episode 8 trailer. The trailer doesn't just tease us with answers, it dares us to imagine the worst. It hints that everything Episode 7 built might collapse in ways we're not ready for. And that's exactly why Episode 7 feels like the true turning point of this season. Episode 7 wasn't just about what happened on the surface. It was about what those moments meant for the characters, their relationships, and the story as a whole. When we look past the obvious plot points, we see that Episode 7 was carefully crafted to set up a chain reaction where every line of dialogue, every pause, and every hidden glance carried meaning. This wasn't filler, and it wasn't simply build-up. This was a puzzle, with pieces finally snapping into place, while at the same time creating new spaces that leave us guessing. Let's start with the emotional foundation of the episode. At the center of everything was the theme of trust. Characters who once stood together were forced to question each other, and we could feel how fragile those bonds had become. A simple look across the room suddenly felt like a battle of unspoken words. One character's hesitation before speaking revealed more about their state of mind than any long speech could have. Trust was cracking, and the writers made sure we felt every fracture. Character A's journey in this episode was especially telling. Throughout the season, they've been walking a fine line, struggling between duty and personal desire. But Episode 7 pushed them to the breaking point. The choices they made weren't just mistakes, they were deliberate steps into dangerous territory. What's fascinating is how these decisions weren't shouted out loud. Instead, they were shown in subtle actions. A door left slightly open. A conversation cut too short. A plan carried out without the knowledge of others. These small, almost invisible moves reveal that character A is no longer just a player in the game, they are shaping the board itself. Now, let's talk about character B. Their story added the emotional weight that kept episode 7 grounded. In one particular scene, we saw them torn apart by conflicting loyalties. It wasn't about power or politics for them. It was about love, loss, and survival. The performance carried raw honesty. Every pause in their voice, every flicker of doubt in their eyes, made us feel the burden they carried. And here's the key. This wasn't just their personal struggle. Their pain is about to ripple through everyone else in episode 8, because their choices touched the lives of nearly every other character. Episode 7 also delivered some brilliant symbolism and foreshadowing. For example, shadows were used again and again throughout the episode. Characters often stood half in the light and half in the dark, visually showing us how divided they are inside. In one scene, a conversation happened near a window, where the sunlight kept fading in and out as clouds passed overhead. It wasn't random, it was a deliberate sign that nothing is stable anymore. Even the environment seemed to reflect the chaos within. Another detail was silence. The writers used silence almost like a weapon in this episode. Conversations would end with words left hanging, creating an awkward emptiness that said more than dialogue ever could. A moment of quiet often told us that someone was holding back, keeping a secret, or silently making a decision that others couldn't see. These silences are the kind of storytelling tools that make the difference between good writing and great writing. And episode 7 leaned heavily on them. The cliffhanger ending deserves its own breakdown. That final moment wasn't just about shocking the audience. It was about reshaping the rules of the story. It forced us to re-examine everything that happened earlier in the episode. Did we miss the clues? Were there hints hidden in the way characters spoke or moved? When we go back and rewatch, the pieces start falling into place. And we realize that the writers had been preparing us all along. That's why the ending felt earned rather than cheap. It wasn't just a twist. It was the logical conclusion of everything we didn't want to believe. But here's the most important part. Episode 7 was about setting the trap for episode 8. Every character's move, every hidden glance, every unspoken line of dialogue was preparing us for the storm that the trailer teases. By the time episode 7 ended, the board was set. The pieces are in position, and now episode 8 promises to knock them all down in a way that will change the game forever. In short, episode 7 wasn't just a turning point. It was a warning that nothing is stable, that trust is broken, and that the choices made in this chapter will decide the fates of everyone moving forward. And as we look ahead to episode 8, it's clear that the story is about to shift into its most dangerous phase yet. The episode 8 trailer opens with a mood that feels completely different from anything we've seen so far in this season. Right from the very first frame, we can sense a shift. The air is heavier, the colors are darker, and the sound design itself seems to whisper that something devastating is coming. It doesn't feel like a continuation. It feels like a warning. A warning that the events of episode 7 were only the beginning. And the real storm is about to arrive. The first thing that stands out is the tone. Episode 7, for all of its tension, still carried moments of warmth and human connection. We saw love, hesitation, and hope flickering in the background, even in the middle of conflict. But in this trailer for episode 8, that light is gone. What replaces it is dread. The way the trailer is cut, with fast flashes of violence followed by long pauses of silence, makes the viewer feel unsettled. It's like the show is daring us to breathe, only to take that breath away with the next scene. One of the most striking elements of the trailer is its pacing. It doesn't rush. It doesn't overwhelm us with too many quick cuts. Instead, it takes its time, letting certain images linger long enough to burn into our minds. For example, we see character A standing in a dimly lit hallway, their face hidden in shadow as if they are wrestling with a choice that could decide everything. That single shot carries more weight than a dozen action scenes, because it tells us that the next episode isn't just about what happens, it's about the choices that will define these characters forever. And then there are the visuals. The trailer is filled with strong, haunting images that refuse to let us look away. A door slamming shut, echoing like a final decision. A candle flickering violently, almost going out. A crowd of people shouting, their voices blending into chaos. These visuals are not random. They are carefully chosen symbols that show us the world is collapsing into disorder. Every detail, from the colors to the sound design, is building the idea that Episode 8 is not about safety or stability, it's about survival. Another unforgettable element of the trailer is the use of sound. The score is stripped down to almost nothing, leaving us with long stretches of silence where we can hear only the characters' breaths or the creak of the environment. Then, suddenly, the silence breaks with a burst of music or a scream, pulling us out of our comfort zone. That rhythm quiet, then loud, then quiet again, it creates a constant sense of unease. It makes us feel like we're walking on thin ice, waiting for the crack to come. The trailer also gives us character-driven moments that raise more questions than answers. Character B is shown with tears in their eyes, looking away from someone we can't see. Is this regret? Is this betrayal? Or is it grief for something that has already been lost? Another scene shows character C raising their voice in defiance. But their words are drowned out by the rising sound of drums in the background, as if the world itself is working against them. These are tiny flashes. But they tell us that Episode 8 won't just be about external battles, it will be about internal struggles too. And let's not forget the climactic moments teased in the trailer. Toward the end, the pace quickens, and we're hit with a rush of images. A character falling to the ground, another gripping a weapon, a building set ablaze. None of these moments are explained, but that's the point. The trailer doesn't want to give us answers. It wants to feed our imagination, make us question every possibility, and keep us awake at night wondering how these pieces will fit together. But perhaps the most chilling part of the trailer is the final shot. Just when it seems like the chaos has reached its peak, the screen cuts to black, and we hear a single voice whisper, "It's already too late." That line, simple as it is, lingers in the air. Too late for what? Too late for saving a relationship. Too late for stopping a betrayal. Too late for survival itself. The fact that the trailer ends on a question rather than an answer shows us that Episode 8 is going to push us into unknown territory. In summary, the first impression the trailer gives us is one of fear, choice, and finality. It feels like the walls are closing in, and every character is standing at a crossroads. Episode 7 left us with broken trust and heavy questions. But Episode 8 promises to shatter what's left and force everyone into decisions they cannot take back. If Episode 7 was the turning point, then Episode 8 is the explosion. And the trailer makes it clear, no one is walking out of this unchanged. The Episode 8 trailer is like a puzzle. Every frame hides a clue, every shadow hints at a secret, and every glance between characters is loaded with meaning. To truly understand what might happen next, we have to look closer, frame by frame. Let's start at the very beginning. The trailer opens with a long shot of a deserted street bathed in gray light. At first glance, it looks like nothing is happening. But notice how the street is littered with papers fluttering in the wind. This isn't just background detail. Papers often symbolize messages, secrets, or warnings. They're chaotic, scattering hints that something important is being lost or ignored. And it sets the tone for the episode: instability and tension. Next, we see character A walking slowly, head down, as if carrying the weight of the entire world. The camera lingers longer than usual on their face, emphasizing not what they're doing, but how they feel. Look closely, their hand trembles slightly when they touch a door handle. That's a subtle hint that a major choice or confrontation is coming. They are at a crossroads. The trailer is asking us to watch every small movement. Then there's a scene of character B, standing in a dimly lit room, staring at a broken mirror. The reflection is fragmented, showing multiple images of them at once. Symbolically, this represents their fractured state of mind and hints at duality, perhaps a secret identity, a hidden motive, or conflicting loyalties. This scene only lasts a few seconds, but it's one of the most telling moments in the trailer. The writers are signaling that what we see on the surface won't tell the full story. A brief flash shows character C holding a weapon, but their hands are shaking. At first, it seems like action, but the hesitation is key. This indicates that the character may not fully commit to what they are about to do, suggesting inner conflict and possible betrayal. It's a perfect setup for suspense viewers. We'll be left wondering if this character will act in time or hesitate at the wrong moment. The trailer also includes crowd chaos, a scene where multiple characters are shouting and moving frantically. But look closer. One figure in the background is calm, almost eerily still, observing everything. This is a visual cue that someone is manipulating events behind the scenes, likely pulling strings without being noticed. It's a classic foreshadowing technique, letting us know that not all threats are visible. One of the most striking sequences is a brief clip of fire consuming part of a building. Flames often symbolize destruction, change, or revelation. In this context, it could mean a literal loss of property or, more likely, the destruction of trust, alliances, or safety for the characters. Notice how a character briefly glances back at the fire, conflicted. That moment suggests that someone may have caused this chaos or will suffer directly because of it. There's also a small but important detail in the trailer's background. A clock ticking loudly in a near-empty room. Time is a recurring theme. Here it reminds us that the characters are racing against unseen deadlines, and decisions made now will have irreversible consequences. The clock isn't just a prop, it's a warning. Episode 8 will force choices under pressure, and the ticking sound builds tension even for the viewer. The trailer's dialogue snippets also deserve attention. In one line, a voice whispers, "You don't know what's coming." Delivered quietly over the visual chaos, it's not just a warning, it's a promise. It confirms that Episode 8 will expose hidden dangers, push secrets into the open, and challenge our expectations. This line alone reframes everything we saw in Episode 7, hinting that there's far more at stake than personal grudges or minor betrayals. Another hidden clue comes from lighting and shadows. Several characters appear partially in darkness, while part of their faces is illuminated. This visual language suggests duality, deception, and hidden motives. Pay attention to who is in the shadows and who is in the light. They are telling us which characters may be hiding something significant or preparing for a major reveal toward the trailer's climax. We see a character falling or being pushed. This is a literal moment of danger, but metaphorically, it signals upheaval. Someone's position, power, or stability is about to collapse. Paired with rapid flashes of other characters reacting in shock, this moment emphasizes that no one is safe in Episode 8. It's a visual reminder of the consequences that Episode 7's choices have set in motion. Finally, the trailer ends with a close-up of character D's eyes, filled with determination and fear at the same time. This is an emotional anchor. It suggests that even in the midst of chaos, someone will rise to face what's coming. But the fear shows that victory will not come easily, and the determination hints at confrontation, courage, or perhaps revenge. The trailer closes on this note, leaving viewers with anticipation, dread, and excitement all at once. Breaking down the trailer scene by scene shows us that every shot is deliberate, every symbol intentional. The chaos, the silence, the shadows, the brief flashes of fire, and the subtle character cues all point to one thing. Episode 8 will be an emotional and narrative storm. It won't just continue the story, it will challenge everything we think we know about these characters and their world. Episode 8 is shaping up to be one of the most intense chapters in Blood of My Blood. And based on Episode 7 and the trailer, there are several major possibilities we can explore. The combination of betrayal, secrets, and foreshadowing points toward a storm where no character is safe. And the consequences of past actions will hit harder than ever. Let's break down some of the most likely developments and theories. First, let's talk about character A. Episode 7 set them up as someone at a crossroads, and the trailer suggests that their decisions will define the episode's central conflict. One strong theory is that character A will face a betrayal that tests their loyalties to the extreme. This could be from a trusted ally who has been quietly manipulating events behind the scenes. The subtle moments in the trailer shadows hiding part of their face. Hesitant movements and glances of doubt support this idea. Episode 8 might force them to choose between self-preservation and protecting someone they care about, and that choice could have ripple effects for everyone else. Next, character B seems poised for an emotional reckoning. Their fragmented mirrors seen in the trailer hints at a confrontation with their own identity or past actions. One theory is that Episode 8 will force character B to confront a hidden truth about themselves or someone close to them. This could involve an unexpected revelation that changes the dynamics between characters entirely. For example, a secret alliance, a hidden motive, or even a betrayal could be revealed in a dramatic twist. Given the emotional depth we've seen from them so far, this revelation is likely to be devastating not just to them but to those around them. Character C is another figure drawing attention. Their hesitation while holding a weapon in the trailer suggests internal conflict. Perhaps they're torn between loyalty and vengeance. One strong prediction is that character C may attempt to intervene in a dangerous situation but fail at the last moment, creating chaos. This could lead to accidental harm, shifting alliances, or even a major character's temporary downfall. Episode 8 might focus on how choices, even well-intentioned ones, can have unintended consequences. The trailer's focus on fire and destruction hints at broader external conflicts as well. One possible scenario is a literal attack on a key location, whether it's a home, business, or gathering place, resulting in chaos that forces characters to make life or death decisions. Fire often symbolizes both destruction and renewal, so this could also mark a turning point in the season's arc. Someone may lose power, influence, or security, while others might seize the opportunity to rise. Thematically, Episode 8 could show that in moments of destruction, new alliances and rivalries are born. Time pressure is another element highlighted in the trailer, the clock ticking ominously. This suggests that characters will be forced to make critical decisions under pressure. One theory is that multiple storylines will converge in Episode 8, creating overlapping conflicts. For instance, while one character deals with betrayal or emotional confrontation, another could be in physical danger. This would raise the tension dramatically and allow the show to explore both action and emotional stakes simultaneously. We also need to consider the role of hidden manipulators. Several trailer shots suggest that someone is quietly pulling strings, watching chaos unfold without participating directly. A strong prediction is that Episode 8 will finally reveal at least one of these secret operators, exposing motivations that have been hinted at but never confirmed. This could redefine who we trust and who we see as the hero or villain in the story. It's possible that a shocking alliance or betrayal will come to light, dramatically altering relationships. Episode 8 may also test moral boundaries. Characters like Character D are shown with determination, but also fear in the trailer, suggesting that they will face a critical moral choice. Will they act for justice, revenge, or self-preservation? And will those actions backfire? Given the show's focus on complex character decisions, Episode 8 could force someone to compromise their principles, creating emotional fallout that lasts beyond this episode. Romantic and relational tensions are also likely to escalate. Episode 7 highlighted fractures in relationships. Trust was broken, alliances were questioned, and secrets came out. The trailer hints that these conflicts will intensify, possibly forcing characters to confront feelings they've been avoiding. One prediction is that a hidden or unspoken connection will come to the surface, leading to emotional confrontations or reconciliations that impact the broader narrative. Finally, Episode 8 may challenge audience expectations. The trailer teases chaos, but there are hints of unexpected outcomes, moments where a character who seems vulnerable could triumph, or someone who appears strong could fail. This unpredictability is part of what makes Blood of My Blood compelling. The combination of trailer imagery, shadows, hesitant movements, and emotional expressions suggests that nothing is guaranteed. The episode may overturn assumptions, forcing viewers to rethink alliances, motivations, and who will survive. In summary, Episode 8 promises to be a collision of emotion, action, and suspense. We can predict betrayal, moral dilemmas, emotional confrontations, and chaotic events based on what we saw in Episode 7 and the trailer. Every character is facing choices with consequences that cannot be undone, and the episode may redefine the season's trajectory entirely. For viewers, this means gripping drama, shocking twists, and a deep dive into character motivations that will keep us talking long after the credits roll. By the time viewers reach this point in the video, they've seen the Episode 7 breakdown, the trailer's first impressions, the scene-by-scene clues, and predictions for what Episode 8 might hold. Now it's time to tap into the emotional stakes of the series, reminding the audience why they care so deeply about these characters and why Episode 8 could change everything. Episode 7 left viewers with a sense of loss, tension, and uncertainty. Characters we've rooted for are at risk, and trust has been fractured. Episode 8, based on the trailer, promises to magnify that tension. This is where we encourage the audience to pause and reflect. What would you do if you were in their shoes? Who would you trust? Who would you confront? These questions make viewers feel personally invested in the story and emotionally connected to the characters. 1. Of the most effective ways to build engagement is to highlight moral dilemmas and suspenseful choices. For example, character A is standing at a crossroads, facing a decision that could impact everyone they care about. Character B is grappling with betrayal and secrets, and character C is torn between action and hesitation. By emphasizing these dilemmas, viewers are naturally drawn into the tension, wanting to predict, speculate, and debate what will happen next. We can also invite viewers to share their theories and predictions. Ask questions like, do you think character A will betray their ally in Episode 8? Who will survive the chaos teased in the trailer? Which secret revealed in Episode 7 will have the biggest impact? These questions are simple, but they encourage engagement, sparking conversation in the comments and increasing audience interaction. When viewers feel that their opinions matter or that they can anticipate the story alongside you, they are more likely to watch the next video and stay invested in the channel. Another key tactic is to connect emotional stakes to visual cues from the trailer. For example, that brief scene where character B stares at a broken mirror, it's not just a dramatic shot. It symbolizes inner conflict, fractured identity, and the weight of past mistakes. By pointing this out to the audience, we give them a reason to feel emotionally invested, not just entertained. Viewers begin to care about what happens next, because the trailer is asking them to notice the subtleties that will define the characters. Fates, we also highlight relationships and alliances. Episode 7 showed cracks in trust, and Episode 8 may either deepen these rifts or repair them in unexpected ways. Ask viewers to consider, who do you trust more now? Which character's choices surprised you the most? By framing it as a conversation, the video encourages fans to engage, predict, and feel emotionally tied to the outcomes. Emotional buildup also works through anticipation. The trailer teases high stakes, danger, and irreversible decisions. By reinforcing this tension in the narration, viewers feel the anxiety and suspense the characters are experiencing. Phrases like the walls are closing in, every choice has consequences, or no one is safe, heighten emotional investment. The audience doesn't just watch, they experience the story alongside the characters. Finally, this is the point to invite speculation about Episode 8's most shocking possibilities. For example, will a major character fall victim to betrayal? Could an unexpected alliance save someone in danger? What secret revealed in Episode 7 will have the biggest consequence? These questions, paired with the emotional tone of the trailer and the episode analysis, create a sense of urgency and personal involvement. Viewers start imagining themselves in the story, wondering how they would react, and eager to comment with their thoughts. In short, Section 6 is all about turning analysis into engagement. By linking the drama, suspense, and emotional stakes of Episodes 7 and 8 to the audience's own curiosity and opinions, the video encourages interaction, speculation, and emotional investment. This makes the audience feel like they're part of the story and ensures they'll be eagerly waiting for both. Episode 8 in your next video.